Hey everybody, Brooks here, First Baptist Church of the Islands. Thank you for taking time to join me for today's 545. So I was having a really good conversation with one of my kids the other day on the way to school, and we were talking about the baptism of Jesus and the temptation of Jesus and how both of those things play into where we find our identity. And it was just one of those great conversations that happened spontaneously, which tied in not just for a student, but also for those of us who are adults as well, because all of us have a tendency, if we're not careful, to find our identity in all the wrong things and in all the wrong places. So this was the context. So we were talking about Jesus being baptized, and you may be familiar with the story, right? That Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist, and when he was baptized, Jesus, God, the Son, heard the voice of God the Father speaking over him. And this is what God the Father said. This is the very last verse of Matthew chapter 3. It says, "And behold, a voice out of the heavens said, 'This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased.'" The very next verse in this gospel is chapter 4, verse 1. And it says, "Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil." So do you know what the temptation was? You may be familiar with this passage. The very first thing the devil tempted Jesus with, and he tempted him 3 times there. The very first one, he said to Jesus, "If you are the Son of God, then turn these stones into bread." Isn't that something? He came at him in the place and at the point of his identity. The Father had just said who Jesus is. "This is my Son." That's his identity. "This is my Son, in whom I am well pleased." Jesus didn't need anything else. But the devil comes to him at the place of his identity and says, in the first 2 temptations, "If you are the Son of God." In other words, can you really trust what the Father says about you? You know what? The enemy does the same thing to us. We have a tendency to find our identity in all the wrong things. I'm standing here in an office. For some, it may be a temptation to find their identity based on what they do as a career. For others, it's based on how much they have or who they know or what they've accomplished. Or maybe it's a matter of being in that certain relationship or whatever may be the case, an achievement or whatever. But really, if we have a relationship with God through Jesus, that's all the identity we need. That is our identity. That sets us free to make really good choices. We don't have to compromise. We don't have to lower the bar, lower our standards, because we don't have to live up to an identity that we're still searching for. We can just live freely in the identity that God's already given us in the person of Jesus. And so find your security in who you are in Christ. Let it drive your decisions. Let it drive your lifestyle. Let it drive everything you do today and tomorrow and the next day. And be sure as well to just share this message with somebody else who needs to be reminded that the best identity marker of all is the one found in Jesus. You have a great day.